Hello there. I got a question from Melinda in California, and this has to do with why would it be that Christians would support projects related to people who are Jewish or related to Israel? Why would Christians support those kinds of projects? Probably, I think, Melinda, you're hearing a lot of advertising related to this on Christian radio because there always has been, and there probably always will be a lot of advertising, a lot of programs where people are talking about things like help these Jewish people immigrate to Israel or help them. Sounds like you're listening to someone talking about helping somebody go to a school of some kind so that they can learn how to be more Jewish, that sort of thing. This is the question: why would Christians give their monies to support Jewish people from other countries to go to Israel to study and to remain Jewish? If Israel supported those going to Israel who had converted to Christianity, wouldn't that be the way to support them? Why support their continued belief in Judaism? Doesn't make sense to me. All right, well, you have to kind of listen to the programs, listen to the advertisers, and find out what they are saying. What are they saying? What are they encouraging? Why would somebody do that? Now listen, if somebody wants to do that, I wouldn't say that there's anything evil about that at all. I wouldn't want to discourage somebody from helping somebody else if they want to do that, and whether they're Jewish or not Jewish, or whether they're going to Israel or somewhere else. I don't think that should have any relevance. So, I don't want to say that there's something wrong with helping somebody out. But what I do want to say is that people should do it for the right reasons. There should be some good reasons. And for you to, ask the question, why are people even doing this? That tells me that the reason does not seem to be as clear, or as obvious, or what's really happening. Okay, now I will tell you from my personal experience, as I've been doing this for a long time, and I've seen a lot of people in support of the things related to Judaism and Israel. The Temple Institute there, for example, and a lot of different projects. So I have had more than enough exposure to have an opinion as to why people would want to be a part of this, why Christians would want to be a part of this, all right? And this is what it usually comes down to. And I've asked this question too, all right? So don't think that it's just something I've just invented or my conclusion to my observations. I've asked the question, and this is what it comes down to. It comes down to, well, according to what God said to Abraham, God said, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. And that's what it comes down to. It's as simple as that. People look at this as an opportunity to be blessed by God. If I give money to this person or for this country to make use of, if I do that, well, then God is going to bless me in return in a way that will, of course, return to me what I gave plus some extra, of course. All right. So the main reason why that I have found as to why people will support these kinds of things is just simple self-interest. It's for themselves more than it is for these other people. All right, is that they're looking for a return on their investment. And, please understand that most of what people are giving are amounts that are not going to be that much of a disruption to their budget. All right. And so if they don't get the return that they expect that they should get from God, it's not that big of a loss to them. All right. But you'll notice that there's a lot of advertising for this, and a lot of people are involved in this because there are a lot of people who think this way. There just are. There are a lot of people who feel this way, who think this way, and so there's a large number of people who give small amounts, and so collectively, as a collective, it turns out to be a huge amount of money, enough to keep these radio broadcasts going, at the least. A lot of this money goes to the expense of finding the person who will give. Tremendous amount of money goes towards that. How much of that money will be used for the purpose that people are really giving it for? All right, what is that percentage? And you just have to check each individual organization and hope that you find the correct numbers. I mean, you have to do some research and hope that they're reporting things correctly and honestly. But that's what motivates a lot of people to do this. The people who are giving, they're motivated to do this because they expect to gain a return on their investment in this sense, and that they are going to comply with what God said, that I will bless those who bless you. Okay, so we'll bless the children of Abraham, and as a result, and we'll be blessed in return. God better do it, or he's going to owe us. Kind of thing can start to develop within people. But a lot of these funds, they don't really go to where you would expect. These people who are raising this money, they get paid to do this. I mean, there are expenses involved. They've got to have an office to work out of. They've got to get a salary that pays for the kind of lifestyle that they expect to be able to live. There's other things. There's lots of other things. They've got to be able to go to a conference. Got to have paid vacation. What about sick leave? Who's going to pay if you get sick? So this is what people are paying for. All right, in many ways, and folks just don't really think about this. I can recall going to one of these big events years ago when I was much younger. And I was asking people about this. I was asking them, well, why are we having this big event at this huge church? And they have this big event every year. It goes on for like a week. So, what is it that you're doing here? What is important about this? What is this person involved in, and what are these people talking about? And what's this person going to be speaking about at this time on this day? What's really going on here? And as I spoke with the facilitators of this, the leadership who put this together and was running it, that's what it came down to. That was the most common answer I got was, well, God said he'll bless us if we bless Israel. And one time, just out of curiosity and also as a form of humor, I said, well, it just so happens that I'm Jewish and I'm a Christian too, so do I qualify maybe for? Oh no. So I would say that sometimes to people. I'd say, well, maybe they don't really believe it. I mean, they're talking about this, but I'm wondering, I'm curious, do they really believe that if you bless the children of Abraham, if you bless Israel, that you'll be blessed? I mean, if you really believe that, well, I'm available to be used that way if you want to try that out. Why don't you bless me? And of course, I don't want people to give for that reason at all. I don't. But I've brought it up now and then just to make the point that people don't necessarily really believe that either. It's usually there's usually something else that's kind of going on, all right? And so, Melinda, you really have to ask the people who are giving, what is this really about to you? What does this really mean? Some people might say that, well, I guess if a person returns to their Judaism, then maybe they'll become a Christian. Maybe they'll pursue it, and they'll do that. That I can appreciate that. That's what happened to me. That was the path that I took, and all I did was just simply deal with the question, how would I know the Messiah if I saw him? What did God have to say about that? But that is exceptionally unusual. All right. I mean, it is very, very unusual for a person to even bother asking that question, because most everything about the modern Judaism, all right, I'm going to say it that way, because Judaism has changed a lot over the centuries. There's been all kinds of changes to the point where even today Jews argue with each other about, well, what does it mean to be Jewish? Or what does that mean? And they just argue, they discuss, and nobody ever comes to a conclusion. Everybody just embraces whatever they want it to mean, all right? But one thing that you'll find that most everyone agrees on is that it means that you are not a Christian. That's what it means. It means that you do not believe that Jesus is the Messiah. So, we all band together because we found somebody to hate. All right? That's what it means to be Jewish. It means that we all work together. We're all together. We're a community of people who hate Jesus. And anyone who wants to say that they might believe in him, well, they have to be put down, and they have to be hurt. We have to make sure that they are fully rejected, kind of thing. Because if we don't, well, then we might betray all Judaism, which is a bunch of total nonsense. But people want to believe this, so that it becomes, for many people, it becomes a way to justify hating somebody else for no legitimate reason. No legitimate reason. I mean, they'll come up with reasons, but that doesn't make them legitimate reasons. So that's one thing that kind of binds them all together. The other thing that you'll notice in many cases that binds them all together is the idea of being a victim. All right, that people want to be Jewish because to be Jewish means that you're a victim. I mean, this goes all the way back to when God took the Israelites out of Egypt. They whipped this one on him right away. They said, you have victimized us, God. You did. You took us out of Egypt, where there were all the cucumbers and leeks, and now we're out here in the desert. How dare you? You're such an evil God. You owe us. Pay up. Right? Well, they do the same. People do the same thing today, and it's not just because you're Jewish or because you want to embrace Judaism. People find that in all aspects of their lives, all right? But this is something that just binds them together, and it's appealing to people who want to be a victim, who try very hard to be a victim, even look for people to beat up in whatever emotional, way that they might, or spiritual way that they might do that. You just beat them up and beat them up and beat them up because eventually they're going to say they don't like it, and when they do, oh, you hurt my feelings. Oh, I'm a victim, I mean, it's totally psychopathic, all right? I mean, it really is. Absolutely. So these are the kinds of people that you're supporting, all right? This is the kind of people you're giving your money to. And there's other factors, all right? Other factors involved as well. Whereas, I'll give you an example. There's a whole group of people who assembled this corporation that they claimed was some kind of a ministry, and it was about promoting Christian Jews, Jewish believers who became Christians. We're going to promote them, because they have something to add to our faith. They have some history and some background and some things that they can contribute, that have been kind of left out and stuff. And these people, they solicited me. They wanted me to come and bring my whole church to come and attend, this big event that they were putting on. And I think they were putting events on at least once a year. They were putting it on maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And I knew two of the people who were the primary workers of this organization, and they're total frauds. They have no true deep convictions about the Lord at all. I mean, they're just total, absolute frauds. I knew them well enough to be able to say that, and I still do. And they're just, look, they're just there for the money. That's all it's about. It's just about the money, It's so they don't have to go do something else for a living. That from my opinion, and I don't say things like that about people who I don't know enough about. But these two people, sure. And of course, I didn't mention that to the people who called me. But, I'll tell you that this is what's going on in the back of my mind. You want me to go and bring my whole church and attend this, this thing that's heavily supported and has a lot to do with funding these people who I know personally to the extent where I would say there's no chance that I would want to, support them financially in any way whatsoever. I mean, these guys I don't even know if they even know the Lord. I really don't. Because from what I can tell, the subject of the truth just has no relevance to them at all. It doesn't matter what's true. The only thing that matters is, well, a bunch of other things, all right? And they were trying to get a lot of support for this, okay? So they're not just, Jewish and trying to support Judaism, but they're Christians. How about that? Is that better, right? No, it's not necessarily going to be any better. And so I kept asking this person who wouldn't get off the phone anyway. I kept asking this person, do you know anything about what I teach? Have you ever listened to the radio programs I've done? Have you ever looked at the website? Do you know anything about me at all? And of course, the answer was always no. And I said, well, do you have an interest? Would you be, not really. Well, I know who these people are because I asked. Who are, all these people who are getting together, not just those two, but others, who are you getting together to have this kind of event? And you want me to go to this event and observe and listen and pay to be there. And what you like want my endorsement of it because, of course, I'm physically present sitting there quietly, right? So obviously I'm endorsing this. All right, well, what do these other people have to contribute? What have they contributed? Nothing. I'm not even talking about comparing what they have contributed compared to what I've contributed. That would be another kind of comparison. But anything at all? No, nothing at all. And even just because they're Jewish, that doesn't mean they have any special advantage either. There is nothing that I know that some Gentile who's never had anything to do with Judaism at all could find out for themselves too. What's the big deal? All right. So, going back to the question, you have to ask why, and what are you really doing, and for what? And you'll find that in the end, it comes down to this is a way that I will get God to owe me. It's just another way. That's in general, that's what it comes down to. All right, I hope this helps.